come. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Then celebrate it with or without champagne or rum.
Yeah, we are here, Cristina. We're here.
We are
It's
here.
Monday. It's Monday. 9 o'clock my time. It's 5 p.m. EST. And we're here for some real talk with our friends again. How are you doing?
All right. Yes, you said it's going to be some real tough talk about what it really takes to start a business.
Yeah, but no, you're still nice to our friends. Of course, those I can see that there are people here. So as you join, as you listen, please say hello. Tell us where you join us from. Say what you're up to. And then that way we can welcome you with all the applause, the enthusiasm that you deserve, right? Philip, how you doing, my friend? Great to see you. I'm looking on LinkedIn, so let me see. Can I see you on my? Yeah, I'm sure I can see you. So welcome, Philip. How you doing? Joining us from Jacksonville in Florida, in that big country of yours, that crazy country. Linda, welcome. Yes, so we say we were just enjoying the prospect of your book, Linda. It's coming. It's all right. It's cool. The next thing is we have to get Linda talking. That's what we need to do, Cristina.
I agree. Lots of great nuggets from Linda for sure.
Exactly, that's it. And she has too many golden nuggets for us not to learn from her. That's what always does me in about people who know so much and can inspire so many who don't speak.
And it's snowing where she is. It's snowing in Ontario. Here it's hot.
Is it? It's raining here. It's raining here. So I have to buy a hoodie today because I'm thinking that wherever I go, everyone's got a coat, and I'm like, I'm still in a t-shirt. That's too much hard work. Charlotte, welcome as well. How are you doing? So all the way from Ghana. Welcome. So how do we start today, Cristina? How do we start today?
Today we start by saying, so you want to start a business. What does it really take? It's not really 1, 2, 3, right?
Good place to start. I agree. Good place to start. Take it away.
Okay, I'll start unpacking this. If you're here, either you have a business or you're thinking of starting a business, or perhaps you already started. And it's fun and dandy. Sometimes all it takes is courage and say, that's it, I'm just going to do it. And you go for it. But you can sure learn from it doing it that way. And you learn probably the hard way. But a little bit of prep, will actually take you farther and will make you feel a little bit better about what you're building. So that's what we're here to unpack. Most of the audience that attends these events and people that follow me, they're usually still employed. They are, every day showing up at their 9 to 5, performing at their job. But secretly, or maybe not so secretly, they're really thinking of starting something of their own. And it can be really challenging, because 8 hours at a 9 to 5 is not just 8 hours. It's getting up in the morning, doing what you need to be doing, taking whatever means of transportation you have, finally getting to work, and then doing it again on the way back. So usually it becomes, I want to say conservatively 10 hours, but in some instances, people are out of their houses or of their homes for 12 to 14 hours, depending on how far they're traveling to go to work. And it doesn't stop there. How many times have you taken work at home with you? So it just never ends. And if you're investing all the time, or you're giving away so much energy to something that doesn't belong to you, how many times have you thought, wow, 14 hours on my day, 12 hours on my day, I should just build something on my own. And so if you're willing to put 1/3 of how much you invest in maintaining a 9 to 5 to build something while you have your 9 to 5, you have a very good shot of being successful. If you just are willing to invest 1/3, you definitely have a good shot of being successful. But it's going to require a lot of your energy. And if you are draining, getting up in the morning and going to your 9 to 5, chances are, once you get there, you're not really having a good time either, which takes away even more of your emotional energy. So that's why, to get started, to take those first steps, it really takes mental, financial, and emotional prep before you go. Uh, if you have a business idea, or if there is something that you're really good at, probably that piece is the last thing that you need to fine tune. I mean, you can fine tune it, but you're basically turning your expertise into business. So that part, if you will, is the easy part. It's everything that comes before. The gifting yourself with the time to build your runaway, that is going to take probably 3 times as much work as actually having your shop all set up and showing up every day and conducting business. So when we talk about mental prep, well, first of all, you have to observe, see what's draining your life right now, what's draining you at work, and what it is that you're still enjoying about the place where you show up every day. Because when we choose a job, sometimes we just say a job is a job and we're just doing it for the paycheck. But sometimes there was something that attracted us to that job. So we got hold on to those moments and those little things to try to find, for the sake of our emotional well-being, a little bit of joy when we show up at that place, because we know we're going to be there for 8 hours. We know we're going to have to deal with people, perhaps even people that we don't enjoy so much. So there's got to be something, either in the tasks that you do or in the interactions that you have, that has to have some kind of alignment with who you are, what you want to build, and what you want to share with the world. Even finding a few people, if you trusted people maybe at work or friends outside work, with whom you can share what it is that you're building, not for the sake of running away, but for the sake of creating something that gives value. So that's super important. You try to find something during those 8 hours that will keep you sane. Basically, will make you will make you feel connected what it is that you're trying to build. So even if it's during your lunch and you're sitting somewhere, spending 30 minutes drawing a roadmap or the first steps that you want to take, or who you envision yourself serving, those little things, they, once you get home, they don't make you feel like if I just given away 8 to 10 hours of my life. So you have to be very in tune with your goal and what it is that you're trying to achieve, and look at your job as a temporary contract, if you will, as of something that you're doing for the sake of investing in what you're about to do. So if you're in a situation where it's a little bit tough, and you're a little bit afraid of the financial risk, try to look at your job, not as much as draining as it might be. Try to look at it as not as something that is draining you, but as something that you're utilizing to build your runaway, your financial runaway. So if you're planning to build your business, you have to you have to adopt some financial fitness. As hard as it is, you have to start saving some of that paycheck to build a runaway, or when you're gonna part from it. So it could be saving some money aside, doing some 6 months investment, even little investment. Just the fact that something is growing, no matter how small it's growing, is going to motivate you, and it's going to give you other ideas to add to that financial little nest that you're putting aside. And so, for example, say you save some money, you can decide to take the money and invest it in an activity that you know how to do, that can generate additional income that you can then invest again in your runaway. And when I say runaway, I'm talking about today is day one of my business, right? Have I prepared myself sufficiently enough that for the next 6 months, if I was not to be profitable at all, I could be okay. Now, the goal is to start generating income from your business as much as possible. But just knowing that you have that, it will make everything a lot easier and a lot less stressful, and it actually will help you becoming profitable much faster. So that's why it's a financial prep, but it's also a peace of mind and an emotional prep. So knowing that you have that, knowing that you have some money that you can utilize to invest in your growth, to invest in yourself, to get really ready for that day one or month one is very important. And the emotional part of it, everything goes hand in hand. So if you're surrounded by family members and friends that are really not supportive of this leap that you're about to take, uh, that's not going to help you taking the step. That's not going to help you when, even making that decision of saying, okay, it's now time to unboss myself. So it's very important that during this time, you surround yourself with supportive people that are already doing it, people that have been in your shoes, and you have lots of conversations on what it is like really on a day-to-day basis. What is it like, 2 3 months 6 months into doing this on your own, to get up in the morning and getting on to business. Is it all rose and flowers? No, it is not, right? There are the good days and the bad days, like anything in life. But it's important for you to be prepared, not to see this thing as a someday thing, or that's something that you can never reach because it's so perfect and wonderful and it's not for me. Trust me, it's not perfect and it's not always wonderful. It requires a lot of work. But the whole thing is really about putting enough faith in yourself to be able to say, I can bet on myself, because you know what? For the last 10, 20, 30 years, I've been moving in needles for other people's businesses every day, 5 days a week, for 8 hours a day. So if I made an impact in some ways, and moved the needle and generated some revenue for a company that doesn't belong to me, just by being there for 8 hours and fulfilling those tasks, I can do the same for myself. The thing is getting really crystal clear on what those tasks are that you have to not perform, the work that you have to do this time. So that's the difference. When you are at a place of employment, you're performing a job. You're performing for a job. You're doing what it takes to stay employed. When you start your business, now you're doing the work. You're doing the work to make an impact for yourself, for your family, and for the clients and customers you serve. So that's a completely different philosophy and a completely different way, emotionally and mentally, to look at your activities. Are those 8 hours a day or sometimes 10 hours a day that we are talking about? So that's part of the prep that I wanted to unpack and talk about. Because if you're fighting demons at work, if you're feeling down and now you're dealing with some depression and lack of confidence, this is going to take you very far away from that start day. And about start day, sometimes this prep that I'm talking about, it starts with one decision. Say you decide, okay, I definitely want to do this. I'm not quite sure how. I think I know who I want to help and who I want to support. Uh, but I really, I'm a little bit scared and I don't know what to do. So I start with setting up an exit day. So you want to do it? Great. Pick a day, grab the calendar and say, I'm going to do it 6 months from now, 8 months from now, a year from now, whatever makes you feel comfortable. But then you have to look at the date like a goal. you have to do something every day that gets you closer to that goal. And say you have, a long runway, just like a year. In a year, I'm going to be in a business that is profitable and I'm going to generate revenue for myself. Then you have to act now. You cannot wait until the day before and say, oh, okay, I'm starting my business now, but I'm completely unprepared. So picking a day, the day that you will resign, it will help you taking daily steps towards building the business a little bit at a time. So just because you're employed and you have 8, 9 hours, 10 hours that you're showing up at a job, it doesn't mean that on that same day you cannot dedicate at least 30 minutes to an hour uh, to something that is going to get you closer, to something that is going to set up your presence or let people understand what it is that you're building and you're working about, making future connections, seeing what kind of tools are available to me while my cash is limited that you can utilize to start building my presence and my business and start building something that is starting to appear professional to people and something that really speaks to what it is that I want to build. So there are so many tools out there. Perhaps what you need to do is learn how to use them, learn how to use AI tools for the purpose of building your business. So those are all things that you can do. And it is really a matter of picking a day, dissecting what you want your business to look like, dissecting who it is that you want to serve, who do you envision your ideal customer to be and what they need from you and what they want from you, and beginning to deliver it a little bit at a time on a daily basis. Time, these little actions do compound. Before you know it, somebody will say, "Hey, did you start a business? What's going on? Your LinkedIn profile looks really great. Your Facebook is all different. Your business page is different. Are you actually running a business?" Because all of a sudden, it will start to look like you're ready, and there is something going on there. And guess what? There is. I didn't pick a date. At first, so I made that mistake. Partially was because for a long time I was really happy with my 9 to 5, but I always was envisioning eventually doing something on my own. And because this entrepreneurial spirit was innate in me, what I kept doing, I kept building little business while working, and I thought I was in the business of creating as many creative side hustles as possible until I decided, I don't think I can do this forever. I'm not a 20, 30-year-old entrepreneur anymore that comes out with this or that idea to make some quick money here and there. So I decided to put it all together. And I didn't do it at first with picking a date, but I did take those daily steps and daily actions. And so within a year, about 3 years ago, actually, I had a practice. I had clients that I would serve on the weekend because that's when I was available. And during the week, I would take all those steps, to reach out to them or to deliver my message in every way that I could. And then I think it was 11 months prior to my exit date, I picked my exit date. I said, okay, this, within a year, I need to go no matter what. And I even gave myself another exit date because I said, things were kind of shifty at work. I said, yes, within a year, but what if something happens first? So I decided to do everything in my power to be somewhat prepared within 6 months from the date I had decided. And, luckily I was able to do it within 11 months. But on day one, first of all, I already had clients booked. I had another way to generate income, if not different from what I do, but similar to what I teach. There was a supplemental income that I could rely on that I was able to build. And I also had money set aside that I either could invest on scaling or they could be there for the rainy days. It's something crazy happened. Say I got sick within the first 6 months of starting my business. Because one thing that you have to take into consideration is that if you're used to your 9 to 5 and you're used to your company, taking care of your health needs with health benefits and all those kind of things. Now, especially here in the United States, when you decide to go solo, those things are on you. So you have to have a plan. How am I going to be taking care of my health? Now that my employer doesn't support that side of it. So those are all things that you have to prepare. And I know it might seem like, oh man, there is so much work that I have to do. But guess what? Time goes by so fast. Look at how long you've been employed for your employer, or how many jobs you had to change in the last 5, 6 years to try to find some sanity, right? And it seemed like yesterday, just like yesterday, you were interviewing for that opportunity. And now it's 5 years later, 6 years later, and you could have done something on a daily basis to build something that looked more like you, that looked more like something that will make you happy. And then when people ask you, what do? You would just answer with a smile. So this is really the mental, financial, and emotional prep I'm talking about. Now, things happen. Recently, I shared in one of my newsletters what happened to me in this last year, this last 11 months at work. First of all, I was a star employee. I grew from the ground up. I built a career within 10 years. All my, leaders loved me. I became the director, the product manager. Everything was great, right? But, inside I still had that sense of uneasiness because I wanted to be the one to build the strategy. And really, I made my job look so much like the business I wanted to build because I didn't have the courage to go all solo. But then the unthinkable happened. This company merged with another one. And all those leaders that were, championing me and supporting me and really appreciating my work, they were gone. And the new ones couldn't care less. 90% of the workforce was laid off, except for me for some reason. But that caused me a lot of suffering because I had my job, I had my title, I had my salary, but I didn't have the support. I didn't have, people that cared about what I did or appreciated the work that I was doing. And little by little, all the creative initiative that I created actually went out the window. Even if I was still there and utilized for other tasks that were important at the moment. So that can really take a toll on you. Sure, you have the same paycheck. Sure, you should count your blessing because really talented people were let go with zero notice, right? But first of all, the pain of seeing those people suffering, and some of them are still looking for work, almost over a year later. And also not knowing, is this my turn today? Is this going to be me this Friday? And then at one point they got really creative. It didn't matter what day of the week it was. People were getting laid off every day of the week. So it was like going at work, not knowing if it was your last day or if it was the person next to you last day. So it was really, really stressful to do that, under those circumstances. And I know today there are so many people that feel exactly the same way with all the layoffs that are going on. So the time is now. The time to start is now. And if it happens, at least you started, and you know that you started, and you know that you're just gonna have to deal with it. But still, don't give up and build one step at a time. Even if you're laid off and you're ending up being in unemployment for a while, still keep the exit day. Sure, look for whatever you need to do to sustain your livelihood, but don't forget that this happened and it's not going to happen to you again. So that's what it really looks like. If you're serious about building something of your own, if you're really serious, you have to start now, and you have to fortify yourself so that when the meteorites hit you, something crazy happens, that okay, this is happening all around me, but look at what I got. I got a presence. I got people that support my ideas, my content, what I'm building. I started. There are other people outside of my employment that like the work that I do, that appreciate what I'm sharing with them. So all those things in the table, when things get tough, they're gonna help you keeping your confidence up and really fighting, the distress that you might be experiencing. So that's why you have to start now. That's why it is so important. And it is not just about sharing what you're building and the content and the social media aspect of it. It's really making a plan. Okay, how can I build my first offer? How can I start testing these on somebody that I can help and support, and really start doing the work? Find the time. Maybe for you, it's in the evening. You might be able to do something in the evening to test your business. It could be the weekends, or it could be sometime you might plan a few weeks off in advance, and you might decide, okay, this week I'm opening it up and see what happens. But the little steps, really, even if you find one small thing that you can do that gives you the 10-20% edge that somebody else needs because they don't know how to do it, and you can promote that as a transformation that you can offer somebody else, a quick win, you should start doing that, because what it's going to do is going to give you feedback. Somebody's going to tell you, if you were able to help them or what you were able to help them with. When I first started, I started helping people putting together their e-commerce businesses, because that's really my area of expertise. But then I realized along the way, based on the feedback of my clients, that it was a little bit more than that. I was more in between a business coach and a life coach. And so my clients, my first clients, really actually helped me figuring out and niching down what it was that what it was that I really wanted to do. So testing the waters now, meeting with people, supporting somebody, delivering a transformation to somebody. It doesn't have something that is super long. It could be a transformation, a result that you can help somebody achieve maybe in just a few hours. Whatever it is, start putting it out there, because it will make you feel good that you were able to promote it and connect with somebody. As you do your best to help this person with the knowledge that you do have, so you do know what you're doing, that will give you actually confidence, because you're going to see those results unfold. And you've seen results unfold previously in your life. Perhaps you were managing people, or you were, it doesn't have to be at the director level. You maybe were a supervisor, a team leader, or you just were leading without the title. So every time you help somebody in your place of employment and you help the wheel move, you were accomplishing something. You were delivering a win, a result. So if you did that at your place of employment, make that be actually useful to you. Make that become actual proof that you can do this, because you've done it. Only nobody said thank you to you, or nobody said thank you to you in the way you wanted to be thanked, or you did it and it created a result, but it was so mechanical and on autopilot for you, you didn't even notice, because that's what you are supposed to do. That's what you're paid for. It's so there is a saying that the heat generated by the wood you chop on your own is so much better, so much warmer, right? And I think Emerson said that. So if you test it, you'll get a taste for it, and it will motivate you even further. It will make you really strong, and it will help you get consistency, because when it comes down to it, it's about creating a daily habit and those consistent steps that move the needle for you. I'm going to take a break here and see if my good friend Annie wants to interject, because it looks like if I've been speaking for almost 30 minutes. You there, Annie? Annie? I think Annie actually might be offline or doing something, so I'll
Sorry,
continue.
I took me off stage. Sorry, I took me off stage. It started my computer and everything. Anyway,
Okay.
you talk away. Look, I'll come back to you in a second to tell our friends how you help. How's that?
Oh, right
You know,
now?
I'll share a bit, and then you can tell us how you help. That way people know exactly why you do, what you do, how you do it, and all that. So let me welcome some of my friends. Deb, welcome. We see you. Of course, we see you. I lost quite a few people when I changed my computer on and off. LinkedIn user, have no idea who you are. Please put your name in the comments so we know that it's you. I can't work from your other one. So Deb says, Mike, yes, abundance mindset is the bomb. It is. Of course it is. Welcome, Mike. We see you as well. Mike says, jettison the scarcity mindset, embrace the mind of abundance. Do an inventory not only for your professional skills and experience, but your passions. Getting moving now. Do a pilot. Pilot can only fly, move, and plane. Get into the cockpit and grab the joystick, yoke. Is that what you call it? Yeah. Well, get on with it. It's the basic point, right? You said now's the time, Cristina. Now is the time.
The time is now. Yes.
Yeah. That's Roxana. I see you as well. Welcome. Let me see. I'm sure there's more people on my LinkedIn, because let's say when I turn my computer on and off, everyone tends to disappear. Can I see any of them? Probably not. Okay. So I'll come back to that in a second. Who else is here? Oh, Dr. Lisa is here as well. Welcome, Lisa. Of course, I see you. I've left my comment on screen. Don't know why. That's my bad. Dr. Yvonne, how are you doing as well? Welcome. Glad you're here. Hopefully you're back to your usual self, Dr. Yvonne. Okay, Mike's comment's gone now. Okay. Dr. Yvonne, I hope you're back to your usual self. Well, great to see you. It's telling me that you are recovering some. So hopefully we'll have you back for our Let's Speak Toxic Relationships room. Now look, my friends, there's no simple way of saying it. Starting a business is the hardest thing you're probably ever gonna do. I won't lie to you. Cristina is quite nice. She's into the run your business as a side hustle. I didn't do that. Literally, I quit my job. I gave myself a year to get myself started. When Cristina talks about this runway that we need, I guess it's that breathing space. It's that time. They say no, because when we start our business, all your best laid plans, all those plans in your business plan, they just fall by the wayside. You'll be amazed, right? You're planning to get a customer on day one, 10 customers by the end of the week, 100 customers by the end of the month. It's not gonna happen. Sorry, I'm really sorry to tell you the truth, right? So Cristina, I sat there on day one. I had a whole year to think about this, right, and to work it out. So in the meantime, I was doing courses, right? And day one, I'm like, now what? That's a question that hits all of us, right? Now what? What am I meant to be doing? Do I just make random phone calls, or do I, what do I do? And of course, we end up playing with our websites yet again. Thinking what colors, what can we change? What can we do? Doing social media posts, which help, of course. But I think knowing what to do from that is part of the journey. So I love your point about we put the effort in for our employer, for someone else's job, for someone else's business. So we're gonna have to learn to put it in for ourselves. It may be the truth, Cristina, that many people are not very good employees. But then again, the way you say it, I always saw my job as a stepping stone. A job is part of the journey to who you want to be, right? So look, if you are an awful employee, I'm worried for you. I really am. You have to be a good employee you have to trust yourself. To be able to do what it takes, to be able to do the right things at the right time, to have the drive, the passion, the personality to make this work. You have to genuinely believe in yourself more than you ever realize. Look, we can do all the nice talk. We really can. We'll talk about abundance, scarcity, Mike. No, I think there's a reality to starting the business. That's what we want to talk about today, right? Genuinely, I said today. There's a way you have to be mentally. If you're fragile, if you are flaky, if you are anxious, it will show, and it will slow you down more than you ever realize, right? At the same time, how to put it, business costs money. There's no way of saying it. I can't tell you otherwise, right? Everything you're going to do in business is going to cost you money. Nearly everything. No, and you'd be amazed. You want your website done? Money. You want an accountant? Money. You want some flyers done? Money. You want business cards done? How much have you got? You're getting bills, right? You want to use StreamYard? Money. I got a list at my office at home. I'm not at home right now. But I have a list on my wall at home that shows I spend £1,000 a month to run my business. That's just tools. I'm saying that's real. You have to find that £1,000 before you even start. You have to have that. Something close to. You want employees? My goodness! Oh man, employees cost money. Right? I tried. I thought I would. No, it's not. I thought I was smart. I tried smart ways, Cristina. I employed apprentices to start off with, right?
That's a way.
They told us that they're free. They're not free. You have to pay them wages. They cost less than normal staff, right? But so suddenly, say my £1,000 expenses list suddenly becomes £2,000 when you add an apprentice, right? And that's just for year one. By year two, the apprentice wages is normal wages. 30 grand a year. I'm saying, wow, how much money do you need? Seriously? Yeah, you have to have a plan how far you're going to make this money. And you have to deliver that plan for yourself. Otherwise, you go bankrupt. The money thing is non-negotiable. If you don't have money to pay your bills, you are bankrupt. You have no business. So the money side is really important. You have to work it out, right? Of course, I know what happens. Whilst you're stressing about the money that you haven't got in your business, income not enough, outgoings way too much, more things you have to pay for, still too expensive. And then you have your partner, your family looking at you saying, "I told you so. Go and get a job." But again, so this brings us back to your mental state, your emotional state. You can't afford to be depressed by things like that. When my wife was doing all that, go and get a job, I'm like, no, I know what I'm doing. But of course, look, it hurts. There's no words. I can't say otherwise. It just hurts, right? Of course, you want everyone to believe in you. When you walk past, they're like, "Yeah, Annie's here." That's not how it happens. They're looking at you, going, "How much money have you made? Not a lot, not enough. You need to get paid more in your job, didn't you?" And you're like, "Yes, I'm getting there." Anyway, so all these things we have to do, Cristina.
Yeah. And Mike said that's all.
Yeah, tell you. I'm only just starting. There's books about this stuff. Otherwise, we're going to write a book, Cristina, and tell them the real truth, right?
And some action steps that can be taken as well. I think people really have to. Part of getting prepared is to really doing the math, right? And see what being comfortable looks like for them while their business becomes completely profitable. So that's the thing. Really doing the math, see what it looks like. Okay, so this is what I live on now. So, and sometimes it's enough, sometimes it's better enough, right? So, that you need at least that monthly to be able to build a business and then scale it and build upon it. So that's the reality. Are you going to be able to replace your salary? So that's a real question. And actually, it's not even a question. I must replace my salary no matter what. That's bare minimum. And then the answer to that statement is, okay, how do I do it? What do I need to do? How much money do I need to make? Break it down per week, per day, per hour, and what can I do it? Good news is, contrary to everybody's belief, if you really put your heart and soul to it and your effort to it, eventually you will definitely make more than you were getting paid before. But you have to be prepared to achieve that. So you will make more running your business than you were making at your job. But it takes work to get there. And it's basically what it looks like, you know, for you. How much is your rent? How much is your mortgage? Where do you live? What are my expenses, right? I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. When I thought about this 3 years ago, even if I was running a business prior to this in the UK, in Brighton, um, that's very different. Starting a business in the UK in Brighton and starting a business in San Francisco Bay Area, I thought it was my impossible dream because I was used to do that in the UK. My expenses living in Brighton and just renting storage space because I was reselling antiques and old books and things like that. Completely different business. To now thinking, okay, well, first of all, even just getting a storage unit if I wanted to resell, which is something that was part of my runaway, by the way, that's much more expensive than that. Just real estate here, it's crazy. Okay, I had a shop at one point, so if I want to open a little shop here, no way, it's 3 times as much the rent that I have to pay for an apartment. So that's also, the impossible dream. So you really have to think, depending on where you are, what does it take or what does it look like for you to start monetizing something of what you got? And sometimes monetizing something of what you got doesn't necessarily mean the business that you're building. It just means what is it that I need to do, the actions, the additional work that I need to do, if you will, to prepare myself to have that luxury when it's day one, to experience calm, to experience stillness, and to not have to get to your desk and say, oh my God, I need to make money. My rent is due in 29 days. So that's what you have to avoid. And sometimes it might look like, wait, it's 2025. There are so many ways to make some little money online. We call them side hustle, but in reality, if there is something that well, for example, reselling on e-commerce, if there is a product that you're passionate about and you know well, you might look into saving some money, investing to resell, and doubling your money. So there is so many little things that you can do to prepare for that day. And I'm speaking super generically here because I don't know what business it is that you want to start. It really depends on the business that you want to start. The secret is, you know what it is, and you can look at it and say, because you know it so well, what's aligned with it? What is something that is similar, aligned, that I can prototype to start generating some revenue? Perhaps it's not that $7,000-8,000 client that you are imagining, right? Perhaps it's something really small, like I said before, a quick win. Perhaps is start creating some mini guides that you can resell if it's all digital. Perhaps is some training and consulting that you can offer. Perhaps you're good at marketing and social media, and although the business you're envisioning is completely different, you're actually good at that. Understand how Google Ads work and all the stuff, and somebody is completely green on it, and they actually need your help. Maybe you know how to use WordPress. You've done it for fun. You don't really care about it because your dream is to become a holistic healer, and that was your past life. So what? Utilize it. to start investing in yourself. It doesn't mean to divert. Now you're doing things with intention and purpose, and it can become part of your story. Everybody's going to ask you, how did you start? How did you build your business? What made you feel safe? So all those things can become part of your story. Uh, we talk about personal branding all the time. But personal branding, it's also about the story of you, all the wounds, all the resilience, all the many falls you took. People decide to go with you instead of going with somebody else because of your unique story. So yes, business, but also think about the brand of you. What do you bring to the business? The unique factor. How are you going to attract those people that you're going to help and support, or how are you going to offer value? Whether it is with a service, whether it is with a product that you offer, whatever it is, ultimately it needs to be linked to you, your personal brand. What makes you successful, what it took for you to get to a point that you can define yourself successful. And then again, success, it's you define it on your own terms. So you can be really transparent. Success to me is that I got started, and I'm earning more than I was earning at my employment, and I got a plan and it's working out, and I can already see it scaling, right? Or success to me is that bare minimum I have to bring on this much money per month, and a certain amount of it needs to go in my reinvestment file. So as long as you know and you define it clearly, you can design a roadmap to get there. But let's make no mistake. Doesn't take a week, doesn't take a month. Bare minimum is 6 months of hard work to begin monetizing something properly. It doesn't mean that during those 6 months you don't earn anything. Within 2 to 3 months, you could be getting the first people that you are supporting. You could get your prototype in place and start growing from there. But to be able to say, okay, this now is what sustains me. This is now who I am, and I can now unboss myself, since we're talking about departing and escaping from the 9 to 5. We just have to be prepared. When Annie and I first envisioned these events, being in the San Francisco Bay Area, the first image that I saw was the image of Alcatraz as my place of employment, or somebody's place of employment, and escaping it. Now, people did escape Alcatraz, right? But they did have to do a lot of physical and mental prep to be able to do it, and literally dive into the ocean and get on the other, into the bay and get on the other side. So it's exactly that. You're gonna encounter sharks. It's gonna be tough, cold temperatures, all that. But did you get prepared? Did you get physically healthy? Did you visualize getting on the other side of the shore? Did you strategize, the shortest route, or the one that was, easier on your body? So all those things, right? All those things. So that's what the image that I work with, images. So whenever somebody tells me something, I have little movies in my head. That's the way I work. But that's what I envisioned. And it's not very different. It might seem extreme, but you have to decide how you're going to get I don't want to say from point A to point B, because you were at A at the start of it. So, what got you to point A to point B is not going to be what gets you from B to C and C to D and so on, right? If you are looking into starting a business, you probably read all kinds of material, including, books about how to 10x, how to get there faster, and all those kind of things. Those are all really, really true things, right? But you can only do it when you get to a point where you can scale. So first you have to test it. You have to see, hey, this is actually working. I'm actually serving somebody. My product does something for someone. My service does something for someone. Now the belief is reinforced. The social proof is there. Other people can tell your story for you. And then you can start thinking, okay, these are all the steps that I took to achieve this first step, right? So how do I scale it up? What do I need to do? More of these, or just literally putting double the time, or actually, I don't need to put double the time. Now you have something, a prototype that you can examine and you can say, actually, all this part here that I did, I can skip it and focus on what's really working. But to do that, you have to practice, you have to test, you have to get prepared, you have to actually, you have to go, you have to do it. You cannot afford, to wait for perfect. Perfect doesn't exist. But just because perfect doesn't exist, it doesn't mean that you just go, that's it, I quit, I can't stand it anymore, and now you don't know what to do. So I don't want you to get to be there, right? I want you to get prepared. I want you to understand what it really takes. It's like when you're, if you're exercising or training for a marathon, right? You're not gonna do it on day one. It takes effort. Same thing. Somebody that trains for a marathon 6 months, a year, probably more. Uh, Same thing. You pick your day. This is what I want to do, and you start training for it. You start, getting to those milestones. So that's exactly what it is. And about what I do exactly that. I help people getting started. I help people making some sense of all this myriad of tools that are out there that help us, get there faster. Sometimes if you think, oh my God, I have to have a logo, a website, and all those things. Not necessarily on day one. Or I only have 500 followers on LinkedIn, or I had 3,000 followers for a long time, but I've never done business. Or yes, people are following me, but they're all the people from my old job, and these are not going to be my clients. So how do I get the right people to notice me? So that's what I do, and try to understand what it is, what your dream is, what you're trying to build, and guide you to connect to the right audience. uh, Teach you how to use the tools that are going to enhance your presence and are going to make things a little bit easier for you, and guide you all the way through from the start to your first offer, to the courage to go to and attend a live event and really share with others what it is that you do, and really understand, if you're here on LinkedIn especially, I'm a LinkedIn expert, I understand really how LinkedIn works and what it takes to the business on LinkedIn. It's not necessarily just posting anymore. And the good news, it's really what it takes is the old-fashioned way, connecting with people, having conversations with people, make sure that they are the right people that are aligned with you and who you are and what you represent. They don't all have to be your clients. They can be people that are just like-minded. Being in the right circles opens a lot of doors. So really understanding what it takes, what's going on. On LinkedIn here, we talk about algorithms every 5 minutes, right? But if you just kept watching the news like that, you would just freak out. It just changed. What's going on? Everybody's saying there is no more business here on LinkedIn, and it is so difficult. It took me a little bit to understand that at one point it was beyond the post, beyond the comment, and it was just like picking up the phone and making an appointment with somebody. So all those things really, definitely help. Hi, hello. How you doing?
Hi, good. How are you doing? Annie just invited me in here to talk a little bit. I think I don't know.
Take it away.
So I have tried. I'm like a definitely sort of like Annie. I just hustle to through anything that I can. Because I don't have, well, Annie does, but I don't have a partner. And so a single income is really hard to just go through life like that with whatever. So I have found there is so many, so many gimmicky things that you can try as side hustle that will just steal your money. So just do your research and before you press that button to say $29.99 a month or whatever, for just all you have to do is click these paid ads. Don't do that. And And I have found in the most, that if it's something that you are really you enjoy, you feel comfortable with, for me, like I enjoy writing, so and I also have experience in business, so I like have like a freelance site that I do a little technical writing on the side of, my construction company, and then I tutor on, what weekends I have free for like the SATs. Like I have a group of sophomores actually in high school that I tutor, and it's like I really enjoy it because I really enjoy teenagers. Obviously, I have two of them, but it's like easier to like just put your name out there for something that you're good at, even if it is like, I can like switch a light bulb. Then I'm a handyman. I could do that. And then, you put your name out there, you get a few referrals. It's not that difficult as long as like you're not paying money to like go into a crazy program. That's all I have to say. Good job.
I agree with you. I really know. It's easy to waste money when you start a business. This is why we're having this conversation today, my friends. If you give yourself the breathing space, then what you don't want to be is panicked, desperate for money.
It's a really hard feeling.
Yeah, it's a terrible place to be, right?
I mean, I've been there, so don't you think I'm not just like anyone else? But like literally, I thought in my head at night, like because I'm just that type of person, I'm like, maybe I'll sell produce at the farmer's market. Maybe I will start a beehive and sell honey. And I was like, this is ridiculous, Joni. Like, this is nothing you know about. And so start where you know. And that's how I started let's go semi-successful construction company, but semi-successful.
It's successful. You're still doing it, right? Look, every day you survive in business.
Yes.
Every day you survive, it's a win. Yes, every day is hard, and things happen.
And also here, I have just like a different idea. So a lot of people pay for you, obviously, coaches. So many people out there are, but a lot of people like will pay for in-person coaching, especially for their kids, i.e. why I do these like SAT, ACT tutorings. But like people will pay for you to take their kids skiing for the first time and go down the mountain with them and make sure that they're okay. And people will pay for ice skating. You just swing them around the thing and it's not stressful to them. And so honestly, people pay for the weirdest stuff if they have money. So just think of something that you really enjoy doing. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, sculpture or something creative so that you can have fun while you're doing a little side hustle.
Sounds great. It sounds like you're definitely doing all that it takes to prepare the runaway to a point where you feel comfortable and safe and ready to scale. So, what Johnny here described is doing anything that it takes, right? Whatever it takes to get those, get the lights on, keep the lights on, paying those bills, and not losing faith in your. You call it semi-successful business, but as Annie said, you're still doing it. You're just building it a little bit of every day. You keep on building it. So one thing that I was talking to some friends that like me had a lot of print on demand business going on, shops, this and that, to keep the revenue incoming passively. And one of the things that we were discussing is, when is it time? It was a couple of years ago. When is it time to stop doing all these many side hustle things, right? And really get one that works, right? And so one of them that at the time it was a little bit ahead in success. They said, well, it happens when you stop focusing on all these side hustles and start hustling on the one that you want to build. Because when you call it side, it's always on the side. It's on the side of your job, on the side of these other things. But when you incorporate it in your brand, in your story, and make it part of it, then now you're doing exactly. It's about doing what does it really take, right? What does it really take? What do I need to do on a daily basis? How do I get there? And it can be that for you it's all about for you in general, it's all about, I need to get to this monetary goal every day, right? To be able to say I am in business, and not do I get there. But at the same time, although I believe, I'm a firm believer in multiple revenue streams. At the same time, there's gotta be a way to align the whole thing, and for these things to live under some kind of umbrella. Even if you're the professional side hustler and that's your brand and what you do, then at least it lives in one place, right? And what you can do is teach other people how to do exactly that. Some of my clients, what they want to learn is that, how do I become successful on eBay? How do I become successful on Etsy? How do I become successful doing print on demand? Some of my clients, it's that. And some of them are now generating more than they used to generate at their old place of business, right? But it's, what does it take? It's consistency. So you pick one first, right? And you start, and then you scale from there, or expand from there.
I think it's true. I think some people are not, even though I am financially stable, like I still enjoy having a little side stuff. And so it's, that's just me. But because I like being creative as well as business minded. But I would suggest writing down a list of 10 things that you really love. And for instance, I love dogs. So dog walking, that could be something. Dog house sitting, I don't know, just anything in regards to that. So I love kids, I love writing, I love art, I love a lot of different things. But write 10 down and say, what do you think is going to be the easiest to get me a side goal? And how much do you think you want that to make? And how much can you afford to put your time into, and not neglect your family, and not overflow your bank account, because that's nuts. And so I think it's really good to make that chart, and that's what you're talking about, preparation. So I feel like that could be a start. Everyone make a 10 things you love, and it should not be sex. Okay.
Look, Mike says.
I mean, OnlyFans is one thing. All right. So whatever.
Mike says, create a business plan that includes a complete budget. Look, we all do. I think, if you're smart, you will make a plan, right? I agree with that. But like I say, we all know, as soon as you do your plan, it's obsolete. It's dead in the water. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen the way you planned, the way you've written down. I promise you. What did Mike Tyson say? Every plan is good until you get a punch in the face. And suddenly, you better change that plan very quickly. And Mike, look, all our business plans, all our budgets say how we're going to get rich from day one. By the end of year one, we're earning 10 times more than we're earning in our job. That's what every plan says. Now, let me tell you, I've probably only seen maybe 2 businesses that have gone on to exceed the business plan that we wrote. And they were both residential homes for children, care homes. No, so because that's a stable business. If you can get yourself into the system, into the procurement of local authorities, of states, of social care, you are, because my kids need homes every day, right? I'm saying so that those two make money. Most everyone else, the plan never came the way they thought. End of the year, they were we're all near bankrupt. When we start, I promise you. Yeah, but I think the one thing we have to bear in mind, Mike, is that we have to somehow. I say your next comment, I can say is what I'm trying to say, right? Surround yourself with successful people. Find a mentor. And I had to get a coach. So I got a coach in month 2. Again, I think this is partly the reason I'm highlighting this point is that we have to see some things as investing in your business. If you don't invest in your business, you will sink. A coach is not an optional extra. A coach is a necessity. Without a coach, I would not be here today. I don't have, because we have no clue how to run a business. If you do, okay, great. Maybe you don't need a coach, but everyone else I know needs a coach. If only just to keep us accountable, to at least support us, have a sounding board, to discuss some of our ideas and experiences. So there's some things on investment, but investments cost money. A mentor is free, I know, Mike, but a coach costs money. And I paid a coach more than I paid for my whole business at the beginning, because, like I say, without the coach, I won't be here.
Yeah, coaches are really, really important. I would agree with that. I personally find coaches such a great profession, because you're talking to someone without the exact guidelines of therapy. It almost feels like you're talking to just a human who's like interested in that subject matter, whatever they're coaching about, and they can give you real answers versus, you're in therapy, you're just like, and then. So yes, I agree with you. Coaches are very important. I wish I was a coach. I'm not. No, I don't wish that, actually. I don't want to be that, but okay.
Yeah, Mike, lots of great comments. Canva, everyone needs Canva. Without Canva, I'll be bankrupt. I won't be in business either. So I can't draw, I can't create like that. Canva makes me look brilliant.
Brilliant.
The only thing that's probably close to Canva is ChatGPT. For creating videos for me, because otherwise
I wonder if Canva is like, I wonder if there's a list of how AI, like which ones like rank with the most subscribers. I bet Canva might be like second.
I think Canva, for me, is number 1. They say without Canva, if Canva went down today, I will be devastated and I will be destroyed. All my flyers are done on Canva. Everything I do is not done on Canva.
But there is a few free options. So that's part of being prepared, right, Annie?
Yeah.
So there is Perplexity. It's faster than Canva now. Gemini does a great job now. What else? The InShot does a great job as well. You can just take the background, do all the things that you use for marketing. So there is a lot, and the reason why I know all of them is because I tested them all because I'm curious. And now I think right now I'm really attached to my Perplexity for some reason, because it mines a lot of data for me. But yes, you have to. So the thing, part of it is staying up to date, right? Keeping up with all these new things coming up, because it's hard to keep up. It's super hard to keep up. Even Copilot got recently some great upgrades and is doing a fantastic, we can do fantastic things with Copilot too. So there is, now there are podcasts on AI. It's crazy. Yeah. You want to listen to, what podcast do you want to listen? Do you want to listen to? You say, I want to listen to a podcast about this. Boom. And AI makes it for you. Isn't this crazy? Things are advancing so fast. And about the coach thing, sure, you're investing in a coach, but one thing about being a coach is very much invested in your success. It's, do or die. Somebody invested in you, you're going to make sure they get to the finish line. So that's what a coach does. They keep you accountable, but they're also accountable for you.
Yes, but I think I managed to get I fooled myself, Christina, by I thought I was fooling the coach. So he'd be like, you can't, you can't do that. You have to do it this way. And I'm like, I'm doing it that way, but I wasn't. Sometimes after you leave the coach, that you realize the lessons that you're meant to have learned. Maybe that's just Annie's way of learning. I like to learn through mistakes. So now, at least the coach told me where the pitfalls were. And there's different kinds of coaches, by the way. So, my coach was very big on numbers. You have to know your numbers. You have to understand how the numbers work in your business. Because if the numbers don't work, you have no business. I can't say that enough, right? Do you understand your revenue, your profits, your margins? These are all even how much you're losing every month. Cost per lead, cost per customer. Literally, lifetime value of. So these are the things that we need to know, and not everyone knows these things. A coach can help you. A coach who is number focused can help you learn that thing. Cristina is more on is equally more on the lifestyle side, the life side of coaching, right? Because if your life is a mess, you can't run a business. Yeah, I said that. It is true.
True.
You might need several coaches now, really. You might need, and so I've had coaches all for 10 years in business. They're all different. Well, you have to move along to the next one when you need the next one. Otherwise, you miss out, right? Look, we've got a couple of minutes, Cristina. We said we'll finish on 75 minutes today. We're nearly there, right? Nearly. Joni, I do want to ask you a question. What was the biggest emotional lesson you've learned being a businesswoman? Whilst you think, let me welcome superstar Jackie. Welcome, Jackie. How are you doing? It gives me joy to see you in our room. The fact that you're giving us your time, I can't say thank you enough. Thank you for being here, my friend. When is Jackie's show? Is it tonight? I think it's tonight, right? Yeah, Just Jax is tonight, Monday night into Tuesday in the UK. So do connect with her and do go along. Of course, you got Dr. Marcia is on. Dr. Marcia is on. Oh, is it? No, it's Marcia. I'm not sure. It's Marcia, but I don't know whether Dr. Marcia or Marcia, the other one, is on as a guest interview tonight, right? Who's LinkedIn user? I can't see you. Alavine, I do see you though. Welcome. So you're doing what it takes to get ready. Whilst getting ready to embrace your real call in order to be the entrepreneur you want to be. Consistency, mindset, patience, these are all important, as well as passion, motivation, creativity, and then just giving it your all, right? Giving it everything you got. You have to give everything you got. You have to put more into your business than you put into anything else in your life, otherwise you're sunk. Dr. Yvonne, you're LinkedIn user. Okay, let's say, okay, cool. But you showed up, Dr. Yvonne, earlier. Was that on my LinkedIn? Possibly. Joni, talk to me. What's the biggest mental emotional lesson?
I feel like that's on purpose.
Go.
Okay. So my biggest emotional setback, is that what you said?
Yeah, essentially, I guess. Look, as far as let me frame it better.
Something I would do differently.
Hold on. Let me frame it. I know what I'm thinking, and we've all been there, right? No, I think. Look, the reality is this, my friend. There will be a moment in your business that will nearly crush you and your business. There will be that moment, that experience that will shock you to the night, that would freak you out so much that you think, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to get you to sort of give us what that was for you.
So, yeah, I got it. Okay. So I have two.
Go for it.
Okay, so when I started my construction company, and I had a business credit card that was like almost maxed out, and one of my crews needed like a paint sprayer, which usually you can rent from Home Depot. It's like $95 for the day. And he took my business credit card and I called it into the store and it didn't go through. And I was like, oh my God. Like I was embarrassed, but I was like, what am I doing? Like I'm not making any money. I'm just paying people to do jobs. Like it's just it's ridiculous. So that was one of those oh shit moments. But I think a really big oh shit moment was, why did I not do this sooner? Why? Why did I stay with these dumb shit jobs? Like I am an entrepreneur at heart. I am a creative spatial type person. And so I wish I had just branched out and tried a bunch of things new when I was 28, not starting at 40. So there, just try it.
Yeah, look, as I said, those moments will happen, my friends. Trust me. Even for those who succeed, I mean, look at Jeff Bezos. He builds Amazon over now 25 years, and his wife leaves him. I'm saying these things happen, right? For many of us, we learn the most about who we really are during those crisis moments. And I said, look forward to yours, my friends. Look forward to it. Yes, for many of us, that moment it concerns money. How do I pay my staff? As Johnny just said, that really, so when it's just you, life is. If you don't pay yourself on the 31st, who's gonna die? Maybe your wife might leave you, but I'm saying otherwise, you can survive. If you got staff, people who are relying on you to feed their kids,
every day.
Yeah, I'm saying so when you have mouths to feed, literally, not just your family, other families who have to pay the mortgage, it's a different sort of pressure, right? Now, Cristina, did you have a crisis moment? Have you had yours yet, or are you still waiting for yours? I know you've been.
I had many moments in the past.
Go for it. Share it with us.
Yes, so some of them are linked to my career because I've been in the business of building and running e-commerce business, usually for others, right? Mostly for nonprofits, and I did anything from 1 to 4 million businesses, e-commerce business, up to 15 million. So at one point in my career, I applied for a similar place, a similar nonprofit. They hire me. So if you will, this was my first opportunity to build something from the ground up that was not mine. So it had a certain level of responsibility. And I said, sure, I can do that. I'll be managing and running other business, so I can start one from zero. And so this nonprofit, not the last one I worked for, was another one. This nonprofit gave me a small budget of $10,000 and an empty room full of secondhand stuff and said, here, do e-commerce, right? And you gotta love them for that, but they have a great mission. So what happened was that I had to set up everything. And prior to this, setting up everything was I didn't have to set it up from the beginning because where I worked, it was already set up. And when I set it up for myself, it was on much a smaller scale. So I set up everything, merchants account. I set up third-party marketplaces, and their website was there, linked to it. At the time was BigCommerce and all that. And business was doing great. Immediately, considering that we had just a $10,000 investment just to buy equipment, computers, and get a few people on those computers, it went up really fast. The first few months, it was $70,000 in a month. So we were projected to do the million. Well, on month 3, somehow, the only payment method that we could, afford, we had went down. Actually, they blocked our PayPal account. So I had all this merchandise that people had bought and they wanted to pay for, and some of them I paid for it, but I had no access to their money. So that was, oh shit, now I'm gonna have to refund all these people and tell these people that this was happening. It was a lot of refunds going through. And that's when I found out that after screaming and crying, I can do anything because it was do or die. It wasn't for myself, but it was do or die immediately. So it looked like if I'll tell you what happened with that PayPal account, but I had no choice. I had to figure it out. How else do people get paid? Now, it wasn't like now that you have all these, Cash App and Venmo and all that. It was in 2017, PayPal was the payment of choice on eBay, and most of our sales were on eBay. But a merchant's account were new things. They had not integrated them yet. So I had to find a merchant account, get on a lot of phone calls, and within 4 hours, get that integrated so that we could collect all the revenue. And, after it was done, the very next day, the same people that accused us of not having submitted the proper nonprofit documents for the PayPal account, that's what had happened. They didn't think we were a real nonprofit, but we were. Called and apologized. Oh, it was a clerical mistake. Your account is restated.
Oh my God.
That's how I learned that to set
PayPal had
everything
so
up
many
in
things
under
to
3
work out back
hours.
then.
So
Yeah,
that was that taught me a lesson. It taught me one, to have more than one option in my business, right?
Yeah.
And two, not to panic. There is also there is always a solution. So and the crazy stuff happens. That was completely nonsensical craziness. There was no reason, nothing I'd done, no error on my own, right? It just happened. Somebody else made a mistake, and you were shut down from receiving payments.
Yeah, no, look, I love when you say it was do or die, literally. Now there's nothing that you can't do. And let me tell you, my friends, this will happen to all of us, right? I said, no, when you hear Christina's story, you realize, like we all know, your website going down is not the end of the world. Just do what you have. Mine went down the other day. I'm like, okay. I call someone, say, Craig, do me a new website, please. And he's doing it right now. He'll be off next week, right? I'm saying you deal with anything, but we only learn through those big moments. I love those moments, cliff edge, I call them, do or die moments where literally you feel like the world's ended, but your business, it hasn't ended. You have to find solutions. That's what we're here for as entrepreneurs. Let's do some comments and we can go, Cristina. I promise you 75, we're going towards 90, right? So Mike says, staying in a toxic environment for 13 years was the hardest job that he ever had. Don't stay, find a way. There's a joy in being your own boss. There really is. And Deb says it very well. For years, I kept saying I couldn't start a business because I didn't know anything about it. Now I can't imagine not doing it. Well done to you, Debs. Well done to you. I said the reality, our employers love us as long as they love us. When they don't, yeah, we're gone. I've always been a manager. When I got sold, literally I got sold to another company. In the UK, if you stay in a job more than 3 years and you work on contracts, local authority, government contracts, when the contracts move to another organization, the staff can move with them, with the contract. So suddenly, from being local, working 10 minutes from my house, I could walk to work if I wanted to. I was suddenly working 3 hours away in central London. For me, I hate commuting. And it was a big
That's
thing.
for young people traveling.
It's not for me, right?
Hotels.
Right.
I remember that.
Literally, commuting was not my thing. It destroyed my soul. Spending an hour and a half on trains every day was just so heartbreaking. I just couldn't. So I was prepared to leave, and they said, "But I found a way to leave there." So 24 years in Accenture, then suddenly laid off without a blink. It happens to all of us. That's why Cristina is saying, don't wait. If you have an idea, go do it. Go do it, right? Go do it.
Yeah, do it. Do it sooner than later. Try.
Just train that muscle, because once you run a business, you have more faith in yourself to improve, change, modify another one, or start another one, because you've been through the process and through similar things. So you have to start.
And it's
Mm.
What
yours.
you do right
Yours.
now
You're not working
won't
for
be the
someone
same in a few years. It just
Yeah.
won't.
So
Just won't. But
being your own boss brings its own joy. There will come a time when you find that place where suddenly it doesn't feel easy, but it is easy. You have joy in your heart every day. You love what you do. You know what you do. No one can fuck with your day, literally. You just don't let them, because you know what you're doing, right? Even when things go wrong, that's when you start. You've done.
I
You done.
really,
Go.
you have to be, you're so much more dutiful. Like when it's, your company, and I've said this before, it's exactly the same as going home to your parents' house and they want you to help take care of their garden, and you're just like, I don't really want to do that. But your own garden, yes, you want that A+, because it's yours. And so it really is the same. When you own a business, you want it to, like, every single thing. And it can be stressful and it can be all hours of the day, but ultimately I think you do a better job as like a human.
I agree. I agree with you entirely. I can't imagine working for anyone. That Deb says, I can't imagine trusting the company ever again. I won't. That's why I work so hard, because I haven't. And I do side hustles, but not those.
But like if things got rough, I mean rough, like you would go work for like Walmart.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't? You would be homeless instead of working for Walmart? What the fuck? Sorry.
No,
you
I've
gotta
made.
be able to do something.
I'll be able to do something. Again, maybe this is part of the conversation.
I would do I would do something. I don't care. I have no shame in that game.
It's not shame. It's just that I don't want to work for anyone. Say right now.
I don't either. But if things are really,
I'm doing my side.
I want to say something to that effect, if I may.
Go, Cristina. Go for it.
Okay, so it's not a question of shame, right? I think most entrepreneurs are where they are because they've done their time. They worked for the McDonald's, the Walmart's, the Good Burger King. Because you know what? When they started, they didn't care. I mean, they wanted to make a buck. They enjoyed chasing the buck, the dollar, the pound, whatever it is, the euro. So that's one thing that drives us. We enjoy making money. So the first jobs that you have, you're thrilled. You're enjoying that for your time. You're generating revenue. But that's a clue that you're an entrepreneur. Once you start understanding your value and how that you can find ways to generate revenues for yourself, the real question is, do you trust yourself to take care of your livelihood and yourself, right? Do you trust yourself to hold your life in your hands, or do you put all your trust in an employer that, my last salary was pretty nice and hefty, but do you put your trust on an employer that at any time, something can happen and they can lay you off? Or an altercation at work, anytime. Dad made a comment 24 years and laid off in 1 second, right? I mean, I recently, a year ago, we were an amazing team. I worked with so many talented individuals, and they were laid off for no reason other than the ego of the newcomers wanting to do things their way and wanting to bring in their own team, not because they were not good at their job. And there was no seniority, nothing taken into consideration, nothing at all. The only thing that was taken into consideration is that this task, this title, do we have it? Doesn't match what we have in our other, our other company, right? Our other, how do you call it? I forget. So yeah. Does it match? Do we have it? No, it's duplicate. Okay, it needs to go. So is there a person that can do it, the job that we already have? Okay, they need to go here. So anytime there were duplicate positions, they would be eliminated without even considering the value or the worth, or if the employee that was already employed there for 15 years was actually good. That could have some impact. So I can't, just like that, I can't imagine ever trusting my livelihood in anybody's hands ever again. Consulting, yeah. Temporary things, no problem, right? Some of my clients are educational institutions. That, yes. But, going to 9 to 5, 8 hours in exchange for a
No,
salary, never again.
no, I agree with you.
8
I
to
can't do
7.
it. I can't do it.
When I was working for other construction companies as a salesperson, I had 3 out of 4 close their doors. And so it's not guaranteed. It's because, and that I work for relatively smaller companies, and Chicago's a city where like it's really a lot of Nepo babies. And and so patriarchal, and so they kind of mess up the business once like the dad takes a step back. So but yeah, so I was just like, I could do a better job at this. I could do a better job at this.
Now you are.
And I know I am.
Goodness, now you are.
It's like a little different field, but still in the construction field. So
yeah, I think that there's a point in the way employers work. I get it. Now that we're the employers, I get it. I remember I would tell my staff, look, when things go wrong, if you don't make enough money, there's 2 things that must happen. The business must survive. I will still be here. You would not. You don't have to be here. You probably won't be here. That's just how business. Employees. Our employees, whoever we want to work for, will do the same thing. They look after themselves and the company. And that means we have to go. We have to go. If the numbers don't work, we're gone. Goodbye. Let's do a few more comments and we can go, Cristina. So I don't want to say any longer. Overtime. Mike says we all have value. You need to value yourself first and foremost. I agree, Mike. Every entrepreneur, you must. No, if you don't value yourself, no one's going to value you, right? And Mike says you got 2 options essentially. If you want to make money, sell your time, or I guess you can make money, or I guess give your time, right? It's one or the other. Some people obviously they work on time. But essentially you have to put it in to make the money they want to make. If you want to do it yourself, then you might save some money. Otherwise, you have to spend money. There's no other way. Jay says I worked in a toxic environment for 13 years. That's 13 years too long, Jay. Way too long, right? And Mike says you have to know. If you don't know your price, the price of your service, you're lost. A lot of people struggle with this. Maybe I still do to a degree, right? How much do you charge? How much is service worth? How much are your customers willing to pay? Blah blah blah. But if you don't get your price right, if you undercharge too often, you go out of business. Again, the coach will say that the coach will look at you. The coach will look you in the eye and tell you you're wrong. The good coach. A good mindset coach will tell you, it's in your mind. What are you scared of? I said the price thing is crucial. Get that right. Everything else can flow. As long as you deliver the service you're meant to deliver, right? So Mike, I was in the company based at Redwood City. That's not that meaningful to us right now. Mike says storytelling is a skill we need to develop. I guess the question that Mike is getting me to ask is, what's your story? But as an entrepreneur, your story will develop over time. Don't let not having the story on day one. But, you have a story, you just don't know how to tell the story. But with time and more years in business, your story gets refined. As you do more marketing, then you know what to say. I used to say I do marketing, and I suddenly realized it's not marketing I do. I make you famous, and that makes me more money than ever before, right? Word of mouth. Mike mentioned building our network, build word of mouth. And word of mouth is the people you serve are your best out there. Your best salesperson. They really are. Serve everyone with everything you've got. They'll tell their friends, and their friends will come to you. Marketing's so much easier when people come to you. It's a joy. You don't close all of them. Cristina and I were talking earlier. You can have 10 leads. If you close one, be happy. I am. So but don't come and cry to me when you have one lead and you don't close them. Even if you do close one lead, that's not enough. I work on 10 leads, 10 conversations. How many leads can you get? And then
you grow your business, you should be at 70%.
I agree. No. Look, the best companies are at 40%. If you convert 4 out of 10,
I'm at 70%.
Really, you're good. Seriously, but think about it.
I mean, there's small jobs. I want something that takes a little bit longer and then gets me through the winter.
Right. I'm saying so you know that they're hard to close, right? So 4 out of 10 of the big jobs is a good closure rate.
Yeah.
Most people don't get anywhere near 4 out of 10.
See, Mike, word of mouth builds trust. That's why I primarily work with our Indian community, because once they like me, they're like everyone. They like one person and they tell everyone. And I'm like, I like you guys. So
I agree.
I agree with that.
I agree. Nice. And Alavin says it's never too late. We're always on time when we look at our own rhythm and act accordingly. So that's the idea about doing whatever you have to do. I agree with you entirely. I think we're being honest with ourselves. Mr. Michael, I don't know what happened to you. You fell off. All right, I'll give you literally 2 minutes, please. Share with us because we are going.
Sorry about that. I had a meeting that I had to attend.
No, we're glad you came back.
And,
Talk to us.
As a result, this is one of those things that happens when you're doing at this time. And it's also one of the reasons I presume that you need to have a side hustle, although you will run into this situation if you're doing it at the same time. I would like to find out a little bit more with respect in terms of your experience. I have a problem where I have multiple things in my mind that I want to get started, and I can't figure out which one is the one that needs to get started. Well, I want to get started, so I can only because of that, I'm going to ask this question: what percentage of my budget would you recommend I relocate to the side hustle to get it started? And now that's just to get it started, and then to get it going, what should I expect?
Cristina, you're the expert.
Yeah.
Is there an answer to that?
Yeah, well, not really. It really depends it depends what the business is, right? How much it takes to get it started, because and what do you need to start? Do you really need? It depends. Do you need product?
I just need to start. Like, for instance, I have this idea.
What is the business?
The business is making converting, what do you call it? Integrating cocoa powder or cacao into shea butter, and making that product to sell that product, because I find that it's extremely good at when you apply it to your skin or your body, or especially to mine. I'm finding that it's the stretch marks and the deformations. It puts my melanin back into position. It basically erases them and helps and helps build my skin back to its original look. Because there are white patches.
So you have production costs, right?
White patches. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So do you know what your production costs are?
No, I have no idea.
No,
so you have to find out. You
Okay.
have to
Okay.
find out what the production costs are first, right? How much
Yeah.
it's going to cost you to make one. And
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to have to test it. Perhaps order 20 to 30 units and test it and see how fast you can move them, and also ensure that the supplier who produced this for you is able to fulfill your order once your test is successful. So first is building relationship, actually creating the prototype, showing it to a few people, deciding how you're going to move it, whether it's Amazon or actually, door to door in stores, provided it's certified and all that. So first you have to find out what does it cost for me to generate one unit, right? And that have I identified a supplier that can provide me with some samples and explaining, what step I'm in my journey and all that. And then once done everything that you can to move your first batch, that you can call it beta, you can do a little campaign about, we're coming up with something new, whatever it is, right? Then now you know that, hey, I sold this and I generated this much profit. And then it's you know what you've done, you know what the steps that you take and where, so you can redo it, maybe double the order, triple the order, until you have a system in place and a mechanism, and you have some feedback, because customer revenues in this kind of business are everything. So if your first orders are successful and you get good feedback and customer reviews, great. Now you can kind of project and do that. But so in your particular case, yes, there is a cost. It's production costs. So you have to find somebody, get a quote, find out how much it's going to cost you to make the product, compare it perhaps with the other people that are doing it, see how much they're selling their products for, and how much money you get to keep in your pocket after all expenses, and then make a decision based on that.
Okay. Thank you. I certainly appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay. That's a great question. I'll connect with Christina and have a conversation with her. That's what I say. There's no harm in talking to someone who knows, and this is clearly going to be. It's not just the money or the process. There's a lot more to your business, and I know there's a lot more to it. I suppose unless you talk to a coach or a mentor, then you're going to stay lost, my friend. Thank you for joining us. Look, we do have to go. I have to thank all of you. Joni, you're a star. We'll publish Joni's book one day. One day.
Calm, I do have really good ideas for you. So I maybe next time I'll tell you, because I know everyone has to go. So
connect and have a conversation. Do a Zoom meet, both of you. Why not?
You have my WhatsApp number, so you can always WhatsApp.
I know I don't use WhatsApp.
Joni's
sorry, I'm sorry, I don't use WhatsApp. I'm sorry. I'm an American. Okay.
In that case, you can use Telegram, because I'm on Telegram.
Good. Okay. I switched my phone number, and not for any weird reason.
You lost everything. It's all gone.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to everyone tomorrow.
You will.
Christina, I try to go to one thing.
Christina, thanks so much.
Keep up with me whenever.
What's your last words? What's your last word, Christina? What do you want to leave them with today? What's the last thing you want them to know?
So assess the type of business that you want to start. Costs, if there are any, just in the case of Calm, production costs, right? So you have to assess, what does it take? What do I need to get it off the ground? What does it cost me to actually set it all up, if there is any cost? If you can find something that has that requires minimal investment to start, it's probably your best bet, because you're going to develop that repeat and muscle, right? So you need to learn, and you need to learn by doing. So that's the most important thing. And if you already know what you want to do, you have some experience in doing it, perhaps you did it for a company previously, then if you know and you already had actual proof that whatever your service or your product is viable, and it's just a matter of now putting faith in yourself and get started, build that runway, build that mental, financial, and emotional prep, because there wouldn't be anything worse that for somebody deciding to develop a product such the one that Cam described, and saying, okay, great, it's costing me £1,000 to get the first unit, right? And then quit their job, and this £1,000 investment does not sell, or perhaps it's not up to code or something. Needs certification and things you didn't do your homework. So do your homework, find out anything, test, start, prototype while you're still employed, unless you have you're already ahead and you're already put aside the nest to get started and invest in yourself. And keep trying, keep doing, ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. If any of these resonated with you, please send me a DM. Let's continue the conversation. And it doesn't have to be me. It can be anybody on LinkedIn that you trust, that you already had conversations with. Ask for the help and support.
Superb. No, thank you so much. Look, of course, join us again in 2 weeks' time. I'm going to bring another topic, another truth-telling topic about escaping the 9 to 5 and being your own boss. Take care, everyone. All those in the audience, Carm and Joni, we appreciate you, especially, of course, Mike and many of our friends in the audience. Thank you for spending your time with us. Take care, everyone.
We appreciate you, Cristina. Thank you for the
Bye.
advice.
Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Every second forward is a new beat for your drama. She's success with Global.Media.com and celebrating with or without champagne or rum. She's success with Global.Media.